recently I had a podcast episode with Antonio Squilante, and we talked about some things that he liked in terms of when he was younger. He was a go-kart driver, etc., etc. And he brought up a really good metaphor that I like to use here, because it is very prevalent in the fitness industry that the newest and the biggest new trends tend to come from sport. We tend to find equipment that's able to measure athletes. We tend to find protocols that work with athletes, and all of a sudden a bunch of trainers and a bunch of people want to start using it with average everyday people. And that's not to say that you won't be able to utilize that. It's not to say that you're not capable at some point to be able to perform like an athlete. But the truth of the matter is you're not an athlete. And the reason why you're not an athlete, because you're not getting paid to work out and to perform in a sport. And if that's the case, then that's how we decide whether to treat you like an athlete or not. And I know there's people that say you should train like an athlete in the gym, etc., etc. And there's some aspects of what athletes do that we want to replicate. And those are things that we've learned that work really well with athletes, and we want to scale it down, and there's maybe like a trickle-down effect that it comes to the everyday person. And these are things like the heart rate monitors, etc. Like these were things that athletes used long before the general population did. And I think there is some approach, and there is some application with those tools. So of course we're going to use that. But just like a lot of the new greatest and latest technology for your car tends to come from advancements in the high end, like the NASCAR, the F1, in the Indy, all that kind of stuff. That trickle down effect with cost savings, with fuel efficiency and better tires and better tech, etc. That trickles down, and at some point maybe the car manufacturers start to use it, and then you could benefit from it. That metaphor, the one that Antonio was talking about, is something that I think is very prevalent in sport as well, like sport and fitness. That there are some things that maybe we all take from the high-end athletes and the bodybuilders and the people at the top echelons of whatever niche they're in. But you can't pretend like you're that person. They're getting the recovery. They're getting everything they need, the support that they need, because their full-time job, what they get paid for, is being an athlete. And in some cases, their parents and they're helping out, they're hands-on and all that stuff. But oftentimes they have help to get them to where they need to be. And we're not going to crack open the coach conversation again. But what I want to say is that we can't fully replicate what they're doing for you. There will be things that we use. There might be some tools, there might be some strategies, there might be even some equipment or some exercises that we use, protocols. But we can't pretend like you are an athlete. And again, I'm not trying to disparage you. I'm not trying to say you can't perform at a high level. In no way am I trying to discourage you, but we have to be realistic that you are part of something a little bit grander in your life, and you can't put all your time and effort into health and fitness. And this is why we have to find things, and we have to simplify them, and we have to make them as easy as possible to implicate. And then if we need to make it more challenging, maybe we can in the future. But all these fancy tools and protocols and things that we learn, research, we're going to try to apply it as best as we can. But it has to filter through a coach that understands this, and not someone who just sees it on TV, sees it in the research, sees it wherever in the upper echelons of sport, and starts to apply it to you. That's not the way we need to function. So just remember, while we might use some of these things, we have to be realistic, is that your life is a lot more than the gym, is a lot more than the nutrition, etc., etc. It is a lifestyle. We have to look at that. But you are part of something a little bit grander, something that many other things that need your time and your attention. So let's not pretend like you are one of those athletes, and let's not make you work as if you were. We're not going to try to run you into the ground. You might encounter that in some of the people that you work out with, etc., etc. But we are going to find something specific to you, and we are going to learn from the upper echelons of everything. But we have to remember that things need to be scaled down. Things will trickle down, but they have to be more specific to you and your life and what that demands of us.